Nicole,
Hey,
how are you?
I'm finally coming out of my haze.
It was awesome, right? I mean,
Oh my,
like, so I just want to start with saying congratulations. Um,
thank
you have worked so hard, and I truly am just so happy for you. Um, Tell me what you were thinking about when you opened your email. You opened the email, didn't you? Did you open the
yeah.
email?
What yeah, what happened was the email came in and I found out from someone else that the results came in, and I had been thinking, I'm not going to open this thing until I get home because I was just too afraid to do it at work.
Sure.
And I only had one coworker who knew I was taking the test again. And so I I went, oh man. And she's like, what's the matter? And I'm like, results are in. She's like, what's going on? I said, ugh. She's like, what are you gonna do? And I'm like, I think I'm gonna wait till I get home. She says, rip that band-aid off. I'm like, so as I'm trying to go through it, my hands are shaking, and the first thing I saw was the word congratulations. I threw her my phone and I said, you have to read it. I can't do this anymore. And she started screaming, saying, you passed, you passed, you passed. And so we were in an open gym. So OTs are in the corner and PTs are on the other side of the gym. And they start hearing us screaming and they're coming running over that we dropped somebody.
Right.
And yeah, and from then on, it's been a major haze. It was like, and then like they were like, do we have to, like, they got scared because do we have to send her to the ER? She's hyperventilating. I started crying and laughing. I didn't know what else to think. It was like very surreal. And then when I came home, I kept having to read it to make sure it was correct. You get a little gun shy when when you've tried and you get that, we're sorry, and it's like,
Right.
sure doesn't say sorry.
And I remember that's the one thing that I remember when we spoke about it this last time.
Yeah.
That you're like, I'm so scared of that email. Like you almost have like, you've been traumatized by this stupid email.
Pretty much. Yeah. So yeah, my coworkers are calling it PTSD. They're like, you got PTSD from emails. I said, yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. Just from that one email. Just from that one email, right? So now that you're kind of coming out of this haze, like how outside of like being really, I guess, happy, like how else did you feel? Did you think it was what you expected it to be? Like,
well, it was kind of funny because the information came in on Tuesday, and I came home and I was talking to a friend of mine who, like, I went stealth with a lot of people. Like, there was only very minimal people. So everyone who knew in the past that I had taken it, they thought I had given up and wasn't going back in. Because I said the last time, I said, that's it, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I'm shot. And so when I made the decision to go back, I went, I'm not telling people. Like, I only told a core like only like not even a handful. Okay.
all right.
So because those were the people I needed to be my support. So I was driving home and I was talking to one of my friends who did not know. So she's freaking out on the phone, happy for me. And she texts me later the next day. She's like, you must be flying high on cloud 9, stay on that cloud. And the first thing I went is, I am not on that cloud. Because when I came home from work, and this is what I call it, I just felt like a wrung out dish rag. All the emotions had just come crashing through. And then yesterday when I went back to work, I was more like a zombie, and everybody's like, oh, that's so great. I mean, more people were more happier than I was yesterday because I was just so wiped out. Today is when I started to feel the joy of passing the exam.
Okay, good. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, because
Yeah.
you're like, I feel like it sounds like you were just holding your breath this whole time,
I
right?
did it. Yeah, I was because, and I didn't realize I was doing that. And
Yeah.
it was,
I'm-
I didn't realize it. And then it's like I came home and I went, okay, now what do I do?
yeah.
So it took me a couple of days to really kind of chew on it. And it's like, now I'm like, yeah, I'm good now.
Did
So
it. Like, how incredibly proud are you of the hard decision that you had to make this last time? So we're going to kind of just keep walking backwards this
yeah.
last time. Like, how hard was that decision for you? Because let's just tell people, because, and you don't have to go into numbers if you don't want to, but you've taken this test numerous times, and you've been with me for 2 years.
Yeah.
You've been with me for 2 years, and we did stuff differently this time, but you've been with me for 2 years. And this last time, there was a difference in you. But how hard was that decision to make?
Well, I was talking to, I think I had shared this with you. I was
Yeah.
talking with a friend of mine in the summer. So, found out in May that or June, I didn't pass again. And so I was just like, I'm so tired of this. But like so the last two times I was just right on that tip. And each time I just like got just closer and closer. And I just went, I don't know if I can do this anymore. And so I was sitting with a friend, we had gone out, we were talking, and he said to me, and it was like just before the weekend, and he said to me, he's like, you know what? You're not taking it. Don't take it. Just don't take it. Put it in your brain. Don't take it anymore. You're done. You're not going to take it. He's like, and let's just see. He's like, just see how you feel on it. It was the most miserable, saddest weekend I had because I just felt completely deflated that I said, that's it, I'm not doing it. And I just was like, I was so upset. And then I think one of your emails came on offering the one-on-one. And I went, well, what if, and then I started playing the what if game in my head, well, what if I do that? No one says I have to sign up for the exam. Well, what if I do this? I don't have to sign up for the exam. But I was miserable. And then I gave myself a couple of weeks on that. And then I went, I can't walk away from this again. One more time. I have to try one time. And that's when I made the decision in the middle of the summer to go after it again. So.
Yeah. And that was great. I mean, because I think you did things differently this time around. Because I always talk about, like, there's a knowledge-based stuff. There's all that knowledge stuff. You're learning about the bones and the muscles and the protocols and the tests and all the stuff. But then there's a huge component that I think a lot of people don't talk about, don't address, and that's the mindset. And there was, there's a big, it's like the elephant in the room that no one wants to talk about, but we need to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, the other thing was, which you didn't know, when I finally signed up for the exam, I didn't sign up right away. Not that I was all the way at the end either, but I was halfway, because usually in the past I would sign, as soon as it opened up, boom, I would sign up. I'd get the day I wanted, here we go. I would take it the first week, boom. And this time I didn't do that. This time I waited. And so I decided, you know what, I'm going to take it the final week. And I says, well, I still wanted to get it on like a Friday, and I wanted to get it in the morning. Well, couldn't get it on Friday, and I couldn't get it in the morning. And I went, yeah. So I was like, okay, so it's Thursday afternoon. Okay. And I said, this will be really different because I'm always used to taking the exam in the morning. Well, that day, I did what I needed to do through the day. I got in a nice little walk in the morning beforehand and, prepared. And I left in plenty of time to get there, plenty extra time. I hit every roadblock getting there, every roadblock. Just like tonight, because, I said, oh, I might be late coming. It took me 2 hours to get home. The traffic is ridiculous up in this area.
Wow.
So yeah, it's ridiculous. And so I wanted to get there a good half hour to 45 minutes before the exam. 15 minutes. I got there 15 minutes before I could get in. Wait, it gets even better. Then I had to wait for all these other people in front of me who's taking the real estate exam, the FBI exam, that exam, this exam. I didn't get in till 10 minutes late.
Wow.
I was fuming. I was angry in the car. I was angry at the thing. So I was mad going into the exam because I didn't know if I lost my time trying to get into the exam. So, and then I started taking the exam, and, and then it was like, I had like Nicole cool down. I had to talk to myself to cool down, and then I just hit it. Some of the questions I went, what? I got a little angry at some of the questions, but I just went, you know what, this is what I think it is. And I think I just, because in that anger, I got that confidence in me, and I just went through it. And I was the last one out of the building. They were locking doors like before I was even out of the test.
They're like, you let me in 10 minutes late. I'm taking my time, reclaiming my time.
I really, so, but then, then I left, and I met that core group of people who knew, because they were taking me out. And they're like, how'd you do? I said, I don't know. And I told them, I'm so angry. Yeah. And they're like, well, this is different. Because usually I would leave crying because I just was so upset. But this time I left angry. And
well, I remember the first time you were crying. The second time you were more relieved. You were like, I felt more comfortable. I felt more confident. I didn't change my answers, and then this time you left angry. Okay. So really, honestly, everything that you did was different, from the decision making to the, from the get-go to all the way down to signing up for the exam, and actually when you took it. Like, so everything literally was out of your hands and in the universe's hands.
Yep.
Yeah. Pretty much.
That's what I said. I said it's in God's hands. Everything's in God's hands now.
That's right. But you made the decision. Like, that was you made the decision. So I love telling your what?
No, I was gonna say my boss came in today because she was out for a few days, and I did text her. She was freaking out. So when she came in today, she's like, you didn't tell any of us. And I went, nope, wasn't gonna tell any of you guys. And she just was like, she's like, she was so wonderful. Like, her and my supervisor, they're just so wonderful. They're like, we're so glad you tried it again. And they were just, like, they were just, and in a big meeting call, they brought it up, and they just went, you have no idea what she's been through. And then one of the more senior people, they said, yes, we do, from COVID, we know what she's been through. And they were just, also all of a sudden my emails started lighting up from everybody throughout the hospital. You're
going to be in the newspaper again, Nicole. You're going to be in the newspaper again. Like, I just want to say, like, get used to it. Your face is everywhere. I'm putting this out. Like, I'm so proud and excited for what you've really accomplished. And when I one of the reasons I really love sharing your story is really, honestly, the persistence, right? The persistence.
That's been the key term for this last time going into it, that they're like, you have one persistent chick. And I'm like, yeah, I'm stubborn.
Yeah. You want, like, what do I say? You want what you want because you want it. Like, no justification, no explaining why and what and whatever. You want it, and that's it. And why shouldn't you work for it? It gives you great satisfaction, and look how, like, accomplished you feel because you did it and didn't give up, But I also feel like because there's a lot of people who take the exam and they fail and they give up. And then maybe they take it twice and they fail each time and they give up. And sometimes people take breaks in between, and like, hey, that's fine. you have to make the decision what's best for you, what's comfortable for you, and like your lifestyle. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to your persistence and um like like really just deciding to go after your goals. And what would you say? And I love sharing your story because of that persistence. So what would you say to somebody who has failed multiple times? What's your best advice for them?
Well, first of all, I think I hold the record of attempts.
Girl, I don't know, because I've spoken to some people. Okay, I have.
Yeah.
So
This last time, the difference with this last time than previous ones is before I would wait, I would like give it a few years before I would go back to try. This time I didn't. I just kept slamming it. It's like I took it last November. It didn't happen. I took it again May. And then it was like in my head, I went, I have all this information in my head. I cannot let it go. I got to try it again. So it was just like kept pounding it, just kept pounding it. I had to try. I just had to.
That's me to the core. Like the reason why I put these videos out, the reason why I go on like video, not because I'm tired of hearing myself speak, but I think it's so important. Like when people give themselves too long of a break in between, like these years, and I've spoken to so many therapists who take it, feel that failure, like they feel it, so deep to their core that they sort of give up. And then you forget that knowledge, and then you have to almost start from scratch. And that's why, like, when I'm persistent, I'm like, who gives a F? Like, just do it again and take your score. What have you learned from that? Because it's not failure if you learn something from it. And you learn something from it every single time.
Oh, absolutely. Every single time I walked away with more knowledge, and my patients were the better for it as well. No matter how you look at it, the patients were the better for it. And, my coworkers were noticing, and they even came to me, they noticed a change in how I was treating and how I was communicating with both patients, them, and medical personnel. And it was just like, and they knew my disappointment. They knew how much I was trying so hard. But like I said, this last time I decided I was going to keep it a secret. And for me, it was like, how do I explain it? It was like getting down, really down low in the grit and going head on this last time, not that I wasn't trying the other ones, because I was really falling on all of them, but there was just something a little bit different. And I think it was because the thought of never going back to take it again that made me so upset. I said, no, I got to do this. So I think that's what gave me the grit to keep going. And
I think, but you sort of kind of let go too. Like you did it. Yeah, you're right. I was trying to think of like what changed. I think one of the biggest things this time around, I think just because we were able to, you committed to that one-on-one time with me, that like I had to be such a hard ass. Like I was kind of mean and brutal.
Well, I'm going to be honest with you in that when I said okay to that one-on-one with you, it was intimidating for me, because here I am, and here I'm going to work with you who knows your stuff, who's a CHT, who's teaching the stuff. And, and here I'm going, and here I'm already insecure with my own knowledge base. And I'm going to be like, she's going to think I'm like a stupid idiot, kind of thing. But then in my head, I went, but that's what I need. I need someone who's going to go, either you got the stuff, but you're not using it right, which is a big thing. It's like I had the stuff, but I just wasn't using it right. Yeah. And so there was both a challenge and validation in my knowledge. And that was a big thing that I was finding this time around. A challenge and a validation.
Because I keep telling you, you know so much. I barely know anything. I got a text, but I'm studying it specifically in a way to share it so you could kind of like absorb it in a different way. But you know so much. You know so much. I think I just had to bridge the gap to the application to applying it.
Yeah. And I mean, and when you're taking the exam, everyone says it's such a hard exam. So there's that intimidation there as well, so it's like, I just had to say,
You had
I'm
to
not gonna
change,
intimidate.
you had to change your story. I keep
Yes.
saying we are told a story as occupational therapists, as people trying to specialize in hand therapy. There's so many stories that people feed us, right? That are told. We have one story about being OT, like nobody understands us, we're not enough, blah, like all this bullshit, right? And then when you're trying to become a certified hand therapist, you almost get segregated from the OT population, which is another story that people will tell us, but that's not true. That's not
Right.
true. Just because we focus on very specific types of injuries, we still have our OT brain, our OT mind, and how we break things down and how we apply it to help people so that they can function in their lives with the two tools that God's given us. That's so important, the whole thing. But yeah, like, and then you're told that, it's so hard, almost impossible to become a certified hand therapist. And those stories actually stick with us. And one part of even taking the exam or even giving yourself a chance to try is to change that story around. And at some point we think we change it, but you really had to change your story.
Yes.
You really had to change your story in the sense that you cannot say that Nicole doesn't know stuff. Like, I feel like I changed that. Like, I had to like put that in your head the whole time.
Yes. Yes. and that was a statement I started saying, especially to the circle who knew. I said, I know, and I found it, and I mean, you kept saying it, but I was starting to say it too. I was saying, I know a lot of stuff. I know what I'm doing. I could pass this thing. I just had to, but I wasn't saying that before. This time around, I was saying that.
Certain belief in yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
The biggest change.
Yeah.
It's the biggest change. And to be honest with you, like I always say this sometimes it's not about, I talk a lot about getting those letters, but that's because most people want those letters. But it's the journey that you go on to get those letters.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
What a journey you've been on. So amazing.
Yeah.
And
and just meeting all the different people through the classes and the study groups and different things like that, like I know people across the whole United States at this point, so it's been pretty cool.
Yeah. Isn't that fun?
It's kind of created a nice little circle of, of therapists to lean on and lean,
yes,
kind of bang off questions from each other.
Yeah, who are doing the same thing. They're like-minded in the sense that they strive to be excellent, right? They strive to constantly learn and grow and develop themselves, because at the end of the day, we only burn out and get bored and frustrated when we're not doing those things.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I always like to share your story, your persistence, and now like how you've, each step of the way changed and made the tough decisions to get you to where you are today, which is a CHT. Woo. Congratulations. Thrilled for you.
Thank you.
Super happy.
Thank you.
I couldn't be happier that made my day, made my year. Grateful to be able to be on this journey with you. Like, so grateful.
It was crazy after I had emailed you and then
I called you.
I know. I was like, Miami, that's gotta be wrong. Cause like we get all the spam calls. I'm like, I don't pick them up. And I'm like, Miami, I wonder. I picked up your call. And then we both start crying on the phone together.
No, I was in the middle of my clinic and I screamed.
Yeah.
And people were like looking at me at the patients, and everyone was like, I was like, oh my God, hold on. Get me Nicole's number. I've got to call her. Yeah.
Yeah, because I saw you email me back, but I didn't look at the email till later in the evening because
Yeah.
I went, oh, she emailed me. I didn't even know you emailed me. But yeah, so you were
No, no.
screaming. I was screaming in my clinic. It was just crazy.
Oh,
People are still screaming. It's like I said,
that's
it's
so
just,
fun. How fun
and
is that? How
yeah,
fun is that?
yeah.
Girl, celebrate all the way to the new year and then some. Okay. So
Oh yeah, absolutely.
all right. Well, thank you so much for coming on,
Well,
sharing your story.
and thank you for doing this, because when I made the decision to start to go back into studying, this was the fall of 2019. And it was around Christmas time. And a friend of mine had known a friend of mine knew I was starting to do this, and she found your link and forwarded it to me.
Oh.
And that's how I started that journey. That's how I found you.
Oh.
And we started that in 2020 before the whole COVID crazy stuff kicked in.
Yeah.
But really, like your videos, like I went through every single one of your videos multiple times through the years and note took on everything and reviewed and the what I call the wrestling of information back and forth, because I mean we used to have conversations that were like wrestling matches, just trying to break my skull open to get that information out. So thank you for doing this. Thank you for opening up, making this class, because for me, I think it was a game changer from previous attempts, really. And and learning and getting and understanding the information.
Yeah.
It's one thing to just get information and just regurgitate it out. It's another thing to have it go inside of you so you understand it. And so you're able to then talk the talk, whether you're talking to a patient or to a doctor.
Let me ask you, like a lot of times people come on and they think they're getting one thing, they're coming in for the lecture, the bones, attendance, all that good stuff. What is the one thing you got out of this program that you weren't really expecting, but that you found really valuable?
Well, I can go in 20 different directions on that one, really. Like I said, the challenging and the validation of the information. Okay.
Yeah.
That's the one thing, because in the challenge and the validation, it becomes almost internal. All that stuff became so internal. And it wasn't just a bunch of facts, but it became the point where it became, and this is going to sound silly, it became a part of me. So that when I started talking to somebody and they came out with a question from left field, I was able to just turn it around and come back with the information, because it almost becomes ingrained in you.
You understood the concept.
Yeah. So it's like, okay, so it's like, okay, great. I've passed the exam. It's wonderful with CHT, but that information, like, I don't think I'm going to forget it because it's too down deep inside now.
Yeah.
That it'll just keep going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, it does. It does. It's the understanding that concept. So one of the things I try to do is break down how I think, like step by step by step. That's where the frameworks kind of come from. And so that I can share that piece and how you break stuff down. Because when you understand a concept fully versus just memorizing something, that's when you can see something and all of a sudden know, oh, it's this.
Yeah.
And it's not that you just all of a sudden pulled it out of your butt. It's because you took the time to really fully understand that concept in a way that now your brain can process the information faster and faster and faster. And that's the difference between, you becoming that critical thinker, problem solver, and decision maker. You have to really understand that, so that when you have to do those things, it's that much faster.
Right. And for someone like me who, panics in exams, when they hit you with that question, you're going to be like you're able to like almost catch the tail end of it and go, wait a minute. And then what I would say is work the question through, because like, granted, maybe we read it in the book, from right to left, but the question asked it to you from left to right and bottom to up.
Right.
So the information, it got into you a certain way so that when you got hit with that question, even though it was coming at you from another different angle, you were able to kind of grab it, work it around, and then work it through to get the answer you needed to answer the question.
Yeah. Your thinking became flexible.
Yeah.
Your thinking became flexible.
Yeah. That's it. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah. We've talked about that before, being able to flip it, right?
Yeah.
You're being able to be flexible, like how you're approaching it. Very good. Okay, awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. I think that this will really help motivate, encourage anyone who's taken the exam and have failed, no matter how many times you failed. You only fail if you stop trying, but you learn, from those failures, and you'll always be successful. So thank you for sharing your story. Thank you for using your story to encourage so many other people, because I think that, me, I think we help so many people with everyone, if they're lucky, has 2 arms and 2 hands, and there's such a need for more certified hand therapists all over the world. And no matter how many times you failed, get up and you can do it again, and you can be like Nicole.
If it's something you really want that bad, and I mean, like if someone's listening to this and they just don't know, do what I did. Just say, that's it. I'm not taking it. I'm not taking it. I'm done. I'm walking away from it. Don't even crack a book. You're not done. And then sit on that and feel what you feel. And if you feel like sad, which is what I did, then maybe you're not done. And maybe you need to try one more time.
I love it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Nicole.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Congratulations again.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well,